Good morning. Good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show. It is Michelle Bryant here at WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real. And just so folks know, this morning, if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, you see this amazing backdrop. It means that I'm not in the studio. I'm actually in a hotel room in Chicago. I am in town. Are we good? I am in town for a conference that the NAACP is having, the NAACP AXO competition. And so Lakeisha, Dr. Lakeisha Myers and myself, in our work with NAACP, kids that we have brought here to compete. And we already have one distinct honor. One of our students has been selected to be a part of the National Awards program. And so this is a first during Lakeisha Jr. as chair. And we are excited to tune in to watch the NAACP program on Sunday. They will see a Milwaukee student who is a part of the presentation. Let me see if I can say good morning to the brothers in the building. What's happening, family? Hey, Ryder.
Hey.
How are you doing this morning?
Well, Michelle, outside is like a big cigarette.
You know, I just got done like talking to Lakeisha. I'm like, every time we leave town, I don't know what it is about when we leave Wisconsin. Y'all just go crazy.
Y'all need to stay.
When we left, we had the riots, we had the floods, and it looked like stuff is on fire. You said the sun looked like it was on fire this morning?
The sun looked like it was on fire. I was driving down front of like, I just so happened to look up to give God some glory for waking me up this morning. And when I looked up, I was like, whoa, the sun looked like it's on fire.
But I know I'm looking, and I got text messages from folks already sending me screenshots of what they're saying the air quality is. So I had to go look and see. So we're being impacted by a fire coming, residual smoke from a fire coming out of Ontario, Canada. And then I guess Minnesota has some drama going on in terms of fire. So we getting hit both ways, but like, could you breathe when you came outside?
Listen, I walked outside. As soon as I opened up my front door and walked outside, it hit you. It hit me right in the chest. And I was like, whoa. And like, it's like a heavy smog, fog or whatever, smoke or whatever you want to call it. But it's heavy. It's like, you know, back in the day when I used to hotbox in the car. that's how it is outside.
So there are a lot of people who don't know what these.
Yeah, we're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna leave that right there.
You act like you didn't say it, you know. But there are some people that's cracking up this morning right now, and other folks mad that they not in on the joke. Well, it's good to see you, bro. I will definitely just about some advisory notes that I put in. I know every television station seems like they're inundated with like tips telling people, particularly folks who suffer with respiratory illnesses, have asthma. Y'all got to be careful this morning. So I'll definitely include that in the show. But you all right otherwise, bro?
Otherwise, I'm good. I'm great. I'm just navigating through the smoke.
Look. And when people actually say, I'm about to bring that smoke,
literally,
we realize what it means when it really shows up. Not a good thing. So let me see. Yeah, people continuing the text.
It's crazy.
Be careful about the air quality.
Yeah.
Clark Kent, how you doing this morning, player?
Who you with?
I know y'all can't see me, but that's okay.
Today I'm glad I'm not with y'all.
That's right.
Yeah, you're right.
You'll be spitting up your lungs.
I'm just saying, I don't mean no harm, but you know, when you start talking about what these folks are saying. So in terms of the air quality, just awful. They're asking people to keep the windows and the doors closed, run the AC on recirculate. That is an important thing to remember. Run the AC on recirculate if anybody's air conditioner can do that, because frequently the AC units will pull on air from outside. If you have asthma or COPD, keep that inhaler and the asthma, pumps and stuff next to you. Make sure you have it, what you need. It is crazy when they're looking at some of the stuff that actually can be impacted and really go wrong. So I would just encourage people, listen, follow the advice of these experts and stay out the way. Let me see. So in fact, I want to go look and see, because I was trying to be hit by it here in Illinois, because I'm here until Monday, and they were like, yeah, it's on its way. It should hit us today over here in Chicago, but the visibility is crazy. So again, the folks that they say are most at risk: children, older adults, pregnant women, people with asthma or lung diseases, and anyone with heart disease. We know a ton of people that's in that category. Even healthy adults may notice coughing, sore throats, headaches, watery eyes, or shortness of breath during periods of heavy smoke. How to protect yourself: again, stay indoors as much as possible. Keep the windows and doors closed. Running those air conditioners on recirculate. Again, the high efficiency filters. Use an air purifier if you have one. Now that's interesting. Avoid vacuuming, burning candles, or frying foods. Okay, all Black folks, I need y'all to listen to that. They are asking.
You know why?
I mean,
because you would have to raise up the window. So if you are cooking some, in that, the grease and things like that, and the smell and things like that, they want to keep you from opening up your windows. So if you burning candles and things like that, most likely people will open up their windows, just to get the fresh air in from the outside. Yeah.
I think the other thing too is, though, that they also say we don't, I guess we just don't think about it, but it can worsen indoor air quality without even opening a window.
Right.
Because you think about what's happening in your house when you frying food and, I know, like we laugh, like the parents' house holds whatever you cooking, you can smell it when you come in that house. And so it definitely, like they said, they talk about indoor quality even before, to your point, Jermaine, open the window to help with, the smell and whatever's going on, even the heat in terms of cooking indoors. Other things they're asking people to do: please delay the strenuous outdoor exercise. I always crack up when I see 2 inches of snow. They want to insist on doing it. It's like, y'all, come on, y'all, stop playing. Like, it's just so ridiculous. It's, drop dead hot outside, and you out here in these bikini shorts, them old, I can't think of his name right now, but them old NBA looking shorts, them shorties. And, you just got to exercise. And I'm like, you do understand that people are dying in
Gene Simmons
weather today. There you go. I'm like, you don't have to do it, but people, I can't break my routine. Like, man, you're on some nonsense. And they're also saying the N95 mask, haven't had to use that in a while. They're actually saying put one of those masks on if you have it, and then you're going to be checking air quality throughout the course of the day. When the smoke is planning to clear out in the area, we should get some relief going into expecting potentially thunderstorms or some rain showers, which will help. As it cools off, it will help. So, but they're saying that, these cold fronts, they're going to be great, but there will still be some stuff lingering in the air. So by Sunday, early next week, it's going to be hot again. So we're going to get this temporary break going into the weekend, but that's countered by the smoke. So just telling everybody, be as careful as you can because this stuff is no joke. Just plain and simple. All right, bruh. A couple of things. I am sitting here. Let me just say this first of all. So we got to Chicago yesterday. We took the train over. We have, like I said, 5 students with us. Another parent came along, and to see our kids. One of the little boys. I love this little boy already. He's just the most mannerable. His parents have done their job. Just the coolest little kid. And he said, as we were getting on the train, he said, "Miss Michelle." I said, "Yeah. Have you ever been on a train before?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "But not this one," because I could kind of tell where it was going. So I said, "But not this one." He was, "I'm a little nervous." I'm like, "We gonna be fine, man." As soon as we get on the train, that train went, and the baby, he's like looking at me. I said, "Hey, you good? You good?" Just that initial when you talk. So I just wanted to say that when we get to the hotel, oh my God, it is a sea of Black folks, kids everywhere. They got their different shirts on from across, all their chaperones. And when I tell you it's thick down here, and you realize how many of our children are doing amazing, positive, productive things, it is possibly one of the best aspects, that I can think of in terms of the working with the NAACP. And funny, this full circle moment, because when Lakeisha was in high school, Lakeisha participated in this program as a student. So to see this sister now that she's good and grown, an adult, and this is, I think, our 3rd year doing it. We've been to North Carolina. Where else did we go, Keisha? Vegas. We went to North Carolina. We went to Vegas. And so to see her investing in our children and, helping to revive the Milwaukee AXO program, it's just nothing short of just incredibly cool. And we do have folks down from Dane County in Madison. They brought 2 students. So Laura and her team are here. We usually get the kids together so they can get to know one another. We go and support each other. We've already met other children whose parents were telling us about, what areas they're competing in. So now we got other kids we got to go root for and cheer for as the process goes on. These kids are going to see celebrities while they are here. They're going to interact with leadership from across the country. They're going to master class. They have master classes on money, on music, on any cooking, on anything you could think of that you could offer a master class on. These young people will get an opportunity to be exposed. So I am looking forward to the rest of the day and the weekend and to see how things go. I am excited about that. But I'm still paying attention to what's going on at home. And let me start here. On social media yesterday, there was a ton of chatter about whether or not Milwaukee County Executive David Crawley should have gotten out of the race so early. Let me tell you why. There are folks that are frustrated as they are looking at the field of candidates, their choices, who could they choose, what should they do, and they are not happy. They are not thrilled with how things are landing. There were some folks that were even saying that they had planned to still vote for David Crawley, even though he's pulled out of the race. That can be a protest vote. We tell people all the time, you got to be careful when you're doing that, because you basically, in some regards, you're throwing that vote away, even though you're making a statement. But if you're really trying to impact the end outcome of the election, and that may be the impact is that, somebody who could have got across the finish line doesn't. but some real questions are now being raised because an article came out in the Sentinel on yesterday. It was either yesterday or early this morning. When we got to understand how bad this situation was for Sarah Rodriguez, let me just run through this real quick. So, in my inbox, there is a Wisconsin Election Commission saying, hey, finance reports are due, because I do finance reports, for other folks. I've had my own campaign. So, I know when these finance reports are due. And the filings had to be done, I think it was 2 days ago. And so now we have some numbers. In terms of the amount of money that was raised in the last 6 months, okay, there are some numbers that I'm going to give you, excuse me, to help us understand the lay of the land a little bit. So they did this in order of who raised the most money and how much money they still have on hand. The folks that got out of the race, their information is not listed. Okay, so it starts with Mandela Barnes. Mandela Barnes and $41,000 and some change. He has $204,000 and some change on hand. He raised $841,000, but if you go to his bank account right now, he has $204,000 in the bank. Francesca Hong, she raised $708,000 and some change in this last 6 months. If you go to her bank account right now, she has $410,000 and some change on hand. Joel Brennan, the last person to enter this race, Joel Brennan had $65,000 and some change. He has $359,000 on hand and some change. Kel DeRoyce, I interviewed on my show, $27,000 raised and some change. She has $406,000 in the bank. Okay. Sarah Rodriguez. Sarah Rodriguez raised $561,000 and some change. So, and I can hear y'all now going, and some change. So of these 5 folks that they highlighted, she actually performed near the bottom of the pack in terms of raising money in the last 6 months. In terms of that 5. Again, don't have Crawley's information in front of me. Who else got out of the race? Missy Hughes, don't have her information in front of me. But of those individuals, Sarah Rodriguez was actually near the bottom of the break. But let me tell you, she had, she raised $561,000. You know how much money Sarah Rodriguez has on hand right now? $34,000. $34,000. Now, when you hear that number, you got to take it with a grain of salt. And I'll explain in a way, kind of what that means after we come back from the commercial break. But this is more dire than we were led to believe. And I'm going to just tell you right now, I know that Crawley has to be wondering, I might have made my move too soon. I hear that blues song playing in the background. I think I made my move too soon. But how could you know that these people was lying about, where the money reside? How can you know these people were given false reporting information? It has completely upended this process. But in the meantime, Jay, am I?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, give me 1 second. I just want to make sure I say this. In the meantime, Tom Tiffany raised $8 million which included 6.1 million that was a transfer from the Republican Party of Wisconsin. So the Republican Party dumped $6 million into his campaign. And he reported, though, that he had $2 million. He had basically almost $3 million in cash on hand. So listen to that number versus numbers I've put up the Democratic side. And again, it's because we've had a ton of candidates in the race, and people have to figure out who we're going to get behind. Once we get out of the August 11th primary, more money will come. But Sarah Rodriguez has $34,000 cash on hand. Right. Woo! Jesus. All right, y'all. It's Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. I'll be right back. Jermaine doing his dancing. It needs to stop. All right, to the show. Jermaine, stop the dancing, because I'm up here about to crack up laughing. Hang on, let me turn off my phone. I was looking at stuff on my phone. Let me just say good morning to everybody on YouTube and Facebook. I see Henry Peters got in first this morning. I see the family ain't playing this morning. I got to go back through and look at all the comments, but I see everybody checking in. It's good to see y'all. Thank y'all for joining us. So before I went to the break, and people already started texting me, trying to figure out where I'm going with this conversation. I do the money breakout on this gubernatorial race. I said, though, take Sarah Rodriguez's money with a grain of salt, because one thing to consider, you will have other organizations, PACs, political, that will come in and backfill what she can't afford to do. So they will run commercials for her, advertising. They will put teams out on the ground, knocking doors, getting literature printed up and put out there. This is that other way that folks can support candidates, and backdoor process, if you will, that if it's just straight up head to head on its merits, who raised the most money, who can play in this race, who cannot play in this race, she would be in huge trouble in terms of just her ability to stand there with $34,000. And thing that has now happened, because we are now less than 30 days away, will not have inspired confidence of a lot of donors to come in on the front side. So you're going to see a bunch of people coming in on the back side, potentially, again, union organizations that had already planned to endorse, already, announced that they were endorsing her. They're going to have to carry the heavy load. It will be interesting to see what her fundraising looks like after this period, since the announcement leading up to the primary election. So folks are beginning to think that this woman is not a viable management of the money. But I'm gonna just tell you, it's still, I mentioned it yesterday, it still stings, it hits wrong with me that David Crawley, may not have been told before he endorsed her by her that I got some nonsense getting ready to come out on me. It's not gonna be a good look. You might want to hold, because that speaks to integrity to me. That speaks to, before you jump on this sinking ship with me, let me flag this for you. I haven't talked to David Crawley about this, so I have no idea. Can't believe that he knew that she was getting ready to be in this kind of situation, and he bust out on the scene and endorsed her anyway. So now folks are saying, where do I go? Do I vote for Mandela? The number of Black folks telling me they're not voting for Mandela, that number increases every day. I still paying commercial he has run, but when I tell you people is like garbage, trash, I'm like, y'all, like, no, they not having it. Somebody texted me, they was like, I'm so done and over it in terms of Mandela. So then where do you go? Because you're talking, if you not vote for Mandela, if you're not going to vote for Sarah Rodriguez, you got Kelda Royce, Francesca Hong, and Joe Brennan. Joe Brennan ain't picking no black, he ain't pulling no black votes. It's not going to happen. Most people across the state don't even know who this man is. They definitely don't know. Not going to happen. I can count on my hand, stuff that I've received from the Brennan campaign. So I say, on the Democratic side, you got Kelda Royce, you have Francesca Hong. Now, Francesca Hong is getting crazy traction across the state. And you can see from her fundraising numbers, she definitely is a player in this whole situation. I have had Black people tell me I'm voting for Francesca Hong. But they're saying that because they miss David Crawley as, their preferred candidate in this race. I don't know where Black people getting ready to go. And there are people that are already early voting. These ballots are being cast. I have no idea where people are getting ready to go. But I know where some folks ain't going. Now, there will be folks that will vote because that's what the union is doing. That's they already feel locked into her as a candidate. The Hispanic Latino community is, somebody said, good morning, Michelle. I was never on board with Mandela. I will have to be hung. It will have to be. I've been hearing that over and over again. But there are going to be some folks that are like, this is who we backing. I've just brought up the Hispanic Latino community. Sarah Rodriguez is not Hispanic Latino. Her husband is. And so, our brothers and sisters other side, the bridge, a lot of them, the endorsements have begun to roll in and come out for her. So the Hispanic community is going to play heavily in this race as well. I guess I'm interested to find out from our listeners where are thinking, what do we do? Because this is one of these rare times when we can't say with a degree of certainty, this is our guy, this is our candidate, this is our girl. We cannot say it. Literally, if I see one more post on social media about the implosion, if you will, of the Democratic Party, but the one thing I will say to people is that the process is messy if it's being done well. Don't be confused by on the Republican side of the aisle when there's only one candidate and everybody lines up behind that candidate, because that means that there is no democracy on that side of the aisle. That people, are being, pushed out, moved around. And don't get me wrong, it definitely happens on the Democratic side of the aisle too. But at least there's the appearance of folks being able to get in and to play. And then this has been a situation. Anybody could win this governor's primary on the Democratic side of the ticket. So I want to know. Somebody else said, for Francesca Hong, DC's not in it. So that's my candidate. I do not know to go. But if you have not voted yet, I'm going to encourage you. You're going to have to do your homework. You got to figure out who you're going to support. If you are going to support David Crawley, even though he has pulled out of the race, then you need to be asking what is my purpose for that? It's a statement vote. I wouldn't be surprised if there are folks talking to David Crawley about you need to be in this race. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Because we literally, I saw this, here I come. We got a situation on our hands, y'all. And I'm not playing. I ain't lying. It's a mess. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
All right, we live.
Okay. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for taking our calls, and thanks for working on Thursday when you could be still kicking it. We appreciate you. Michelle, I can't see out here. This smoke is so thick. This is worse than fog. I don't understand what's going on. My question is, does Hong have a black agenda? There was an article leaked in the journal that the GOP wants for us to pick Hong because they're saying that they can beat her easily. So it was like they're trying to promote her to be the candidate for the Democrats because they have some plan behind the scenes where they know they're going to smoke us if she is one of our candidates. I'm stuck. I don't know who to choose. That's why I was listening for you to endorse somebody or say who you're behind because we got too many options and I'm not sure what to do at this point. Have a great weekend, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you, sis. I appreciate the call. Please take yourself as you're moving around. This is not our typical fog situation as we've been told. This is real health, life-threatening, smog that you guys are running into. So please continue to stay safe. In terms of Francesca Hong, and your question was, first of all, let me just say this, and I want us to hear this. We are supposed to create our agenda. When these folks start running for office, we need to be telling them what we need, what we want to see, what it looks like to be a part of this community and to work on it. So that's number one. But I had the opportunity to moderate a forum that she participated in over at Howard Fuller a school, a preparatory academy, whatever the name of the school is. No disrespect intended. I just forgot the way to say it, but I moderated a panel discussion along with former State Representative David Bowen. And some of these questions came up regarding Black folks, quite frankly. So what she has said, she supports increased funding and structural renovations for public schools in marginalized and predominantly Black neighborhoods, alongside implementation of a curriculum that teaches racial inclusivity and the history of racism in the United States. So where we have other folks running from talking about the way this country, the way people of color have been treated, she's saying the opposite. I want it implemented and written into the curriculum of K-12 education. Because again, if we can study the Holocaust, which did not happen in America, and we can study it twice in middle school and high school, aren't we studying everybody else's history as mandated by law? She also talked about a $20 minimum wage, guaranteed paid leave, and making sure that marginalized communities weren't bearing a larger brunt of the tax burden than they should. She wants wealthier people and large corporations. That is something that directly impacts communities of color. She also, in terms of civil rights, got a strong presence there, talking about what needs to be done to be more fair in the justice system. She talks about justice reform, forming, our justice system. There's a lot of stuff that she's aligned with in terms of looking at systemic racism in the law. And I don't work on her campaign, but I just know the information is out there. So you can find a lot of this stuff about what people have said, where they land. But I'm going to tell people, I was talking to somebody last night, and they said it's like a bingo card. Put them faces on that card and start crossing them off and see who you left with, and then go and do the research to be able to figure out if this is who I'm planning to ride with. In terms of an endorsement from me, I'm not there yet. This is one race that I did not plan to try to put my finger on the scale. But I'm going to be honest about the people I know I don't support. And the people give me, concern and pause. I've told y'all people I think that are brilliant. I don't know how that translates though into them being able to get elected. But for me, it's down to two candidates. It is. It's down to two candidates. If there is no David Crawley in the race, then it's down to two candidates for me. And I've already said Sarah Rodriguez is problematic. It's been problematic for me ever since she ran for lieutenant governor. I just have a healthy respect for understanding the process and doing in, and it still bites my sensibilities that somebody is in the assembly for 8 months and then says, "Oh, I should be lieutenant governor," and I'm like, if something happened to Tony Evers, we getting ready to entrust the state being run by you. No, I'm not here for it. And then I look at the tenure as lieutenant governor, and I know that there's been interaction in Milwaukee. I just don't know that. I I can count how many times I've ever interviewed her on my show. I got you, Jay. Here I come. Never. I ain't never talked to her. I ain't never been contacted by her campaign about. I mean, her group about nothing. So if I ain't been seeing you, I'm not trying to see you now. Joe Brennan is a non-factor to me. This wasn't nothing to me but a Hail Mary by white boys to pull him in race because they just people of color getting that seat. Mandela, I think, continues to have many of the same issues he had when he ran for U.S. Senate. There is a disconnect there. So are y'all crossing off the bingo card? Okay, let me go to break. I'll be right back. All right. Well, the show. Thank everyone for tuning in this morning. We got a caller. All right, let's go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hello. Good morning. How y'all doing this morning?
We all right, man. How you doing this morning?
All right. Well, Michelle, well, history shows that when they railroad and got David out, that wherever he stowed his endorsements behind, I think we should too, because that's how. So those checker shirt up there, I don't know why he keep wearing that old checker shirt. I just seen the damn. So, what do that checker shirt mean to this guy? I don't know, but it's question for me.
Yes,
why
sir.
Why don't nobody want to be the attorney general? I mean, the lieutenant governor.
I mean, because number one, they don't have, like, for real. You just there are no actual job duties for the lieutenant governor. So you can create something. Now, if you skilled, you can work and you got a good relationship with the governor, then you can create a lane for yourself to get some things done. You don't have a lot of power, and you follow the governor's agenda for the most part. So it's not, if you're somebody that really are trying to be a decision maker, it's not necessarily your first choice. And you make 84. I think you make like $84,000 as a lieutenant governor. You make as the governor. So that's also
bad. Doing nothing, that ain't bad. But coming from where he gonna win no way, because he done that before when he quit the lieutenant governor and ran for the Senate seat.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows us the way things supposed to go. He ain't supposed to win. If he don't win this time, he can forget about it. And I just want to say that I think we need more aldermen around here. I just jumped the subject a little bit because we got aldermen that we don't know nothing about. Hardly know it. I mean, a lot of people. I kind of keep up with a little politics, but it's probably one politician down there, alderman that and that's Russell Stafford, that people really, really know. And man. We got all them black people down there, and I'm telling you, once they turn it over to black people, you better do the best you can with it, because when they take it back, it's all over with. And that's all I have to say. And y'all have a good
All right, thank you. You too. Let me just say a couple things. You know, when you talk about, and I'm gonna just go to the comments you made on the back end, and got all the persons down there, people don't really know. And he said, you know, people know Russell Stamper. It really depends on the district you live in, because hopefully a lot of people know who their alderperson is. Sometimes it's difficult to know who these people are across the board if you don't follow the news real tightly, or if you don't move around a lot. I mean, because some of these names, like, you know, Amalele Coggs, that's a high profile name because of the Coggs family legacy. You know, Russell Stamper, that's a legacy name because of his dad, who was his parents were, you know, Judge Stamper. That's a legacy name. So you can kind of know that. Russell, it's always something going on. But there are folks, you know, like if Larissa Taylor is my alderperson, you know, so we hear from her. I know a lot about what's going on in the community. So some of it's regional, you know, it just is. They're not like the alderperson, both senior and junior. They were known across districts because of the way they engaged and the things that they championed. And it wasn't district specific all the time. They championed rights and championed causes in general. So you got to know their names. And some of these people, they just focus on their district. Their head is down. They talking about, you know, the trash pickup or the food trucks or whatever. And you don't hear their voice on big issues. And so, and that's fine, because I mean, you know, for them, because that's what they want to do. I got elected to serve this district, and those are the things I care about. I think sometimes people miss the boat that there are bigger, broader issues. The reckless driving was, you know, everybody cared about what was going on. But I just think that there are other ways that people could weigh in, that they missed the opportunity to do that. I always will continue to say, I think that people don't take advantage of these resources like a NOV to come and just have a regular presence. You know, I have Brower, who is a white Common Council member, at least 3 to 4 times in the past month or so. He was bringing us up to date on the wheat energy situation. But, you know, I can call Alex about anything. He can call me, hey, can I come on and talk about? Yes, you can. And there are people just there. So that's one of the things I will say about that. In relationship to the first thing you said about David Crawley gets out of the race and he endorses Sarah Rodriguez. And if we were going to support David, we should support, you know, who he recommended, which was Sarah. To that, I say, hell no. No, that ain't how that go for me. So number one, I am very leery of endorsements from candidates. I just am, because a lot of times these people total party line. These are not these people are not friends. They, you know, I can't vouch for your work. You know, and I tell people all the time, it's people put their name on anybody because you a Democrat. No, that ain't how this go. For me, if I'm going to put my name on you, I said, well, Michelle, tell me why. Oh, I can run down the laundry list why I support Lena. I can run down the laundry list why I rock with Lakeisha. I can tell you what, you know, quite frankly, I can run down some programs that Malele has done. I can run down programs that, you know, other elected officials. I can go and tell you I rock with somebody. These people don't rock with these people. David Crawley can't run down no damn list of accomplishments for Sarah Rodriguez. I don't care what he say. And I love DC, but you can't. You can give you them talking points and do what people told you on the but I'm just not there. And so at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. And I know it's hard because we don't know these people. We don't we just get a flyer in the mail, people, you get the endorsements. There's so and so's name. I know that name. I know that name. I'm telling y'all, and I rail on this all the time. A bunch of Democrats that be on these people's literature is full of crap. They don't know these people. This is who we have been told to get behind. And everybody jumped they behind on the band. Why their names are worthless to me and mean nothing. When I see so and so endorse somebody, she endorsed every damn body. I don't listen to nothing she said, because I know you don't know all of these people well enough to be telling us to get behind them. This is who the party has decided we need to move forward, and everybody jumps. And I've seen real workers like the unions. The unions didn't ever. I don't think Lakeisha Myers has ever gotten a union endorsement from the very teachers union and stuff that she's a member of. Never got a union endorsement. But anybody that listens to the show, you butt off. So I don't care about endorsements. And again, I know DC wish she could take that damn endorsement back. After she done sat up here knowing she had this drama getting ready to jump off and didn't tell. I don't believe. I don't have confirmation, but I don't believe, man. And now he caught up, and and everybody pressuring him. The top people in the race is Rodriguez, Mandela, Francesca. Nah, I don't do endorsements. I don't do them. There are very few people whose endorsements that I trust. And I hope that the people who do those endorsements hear that and understand that people be looking at you sideways. It's very few people's endorsements I trust. All right, y'all, I got to take a break. I'll be right back.
Because this has been popping up in my Facebook.
Hey, folks, welcome. We are trying to make all of this work. Thank you, Jay. I see you saying I got a caller. Yeah, I'm gonna need that to stop. It's a distraction. I'm gonna need that to stop. But for folks that are tuning in, I am actually doing the show over here with the Milwaukee. Sorry. Wait. Because I'm going to play something for y'all. That's why y'all keep hearing this in the background. But doing a show from Chicago, in the hotel right now, getting ready to go out and join our students this morning who are here competing of any one of 33 categories. Young people, 9th grade through 12th grade from across the country. So that's what I'm doing. So that's why the show is remote this morning. Didn't intend for this to be a show completely about the governor's race, but that's the way it has shaped up this morning, because the reality is we real situation on it. I think that it deserves some time. I know that I have Francesca Hong scheduled to come on the show, and I got to go back and see which day we scheduled it for. But there are just a number of things that have to happen. And wait a minute. If I do this one more time, I keep it up. Somebody hit me up, in fact, more than one person over the last several days, but somebody just did it this morning and said, hey, are you going to talk about this? This is, in fact, Jay, I'm going to play something. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear it. Okay, all right. I'm just going to and let's see if we can hear it.
Because this has been popping up in my Facebook feed so much, I just have to talk about it. There is a person who is clamoring for people to talk about the fact that former Lieutenant Governor Barnes and Francesca Hong dated. Now, both of them are running for governor right now. They're running both as Democrats right now. And somebody's trying to make a big deal of the fact that they dated. The other thing they said is that the relationship ended very badly. Now, I happened to be at an event. I saw both of them, see them like having any interaction with each other at all. So I don't know why, but if they dated and it ended badly, maybe that's the reason. But is it really a big deal? Is it a big story that they dated and it ended badly? Is that a big deal? I don't think it is. What do you think?
All right. So that was someone, brother by the name of Jamin, who talked about this. And, people, like I said, people have been reaching out, calling. Michelle, why are you not bringing this up? So first of all, let me just say this. I've known about, the discussion in the back, whether or not former Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes and Francesca Hong had dated. That's just been around for a while. When Mandela first announced that he was getting into the race, I actually was contacted by the New York Times. And they wanted to, as far as I was concerned, it seemed like it was going to be a hit piece on Mandela. And then somebody must have said, call her, because, she got beef with Mandela. So she probably will be great. And that's the way it felt to me. But the reporter, was do you think he should be in the race? But it was more coached or couched in for me to say, no, he shouldn't. And one of the things I told the reporter, I said, if that man want to run, he got every right to run. I wouldn't dare tell somebody you don't have the right to run. Now, is it a good idea? But would I tell you to get out of a race? Would I tell you shouldn't run? I wouldn't do that. That's not my place. I can tell you whether or not I think it'll, is viable, if it makes sense or not. But so that was one thing. Then the other thing the reporter did in that review is this alleged relationship between Francesca Hong and Mandela Barnes. And I told the reporter, I don't know nothing about it, because I'm going to be honest, I don't. Rumors are out there, but this is not my business. I'm not moving around. Everybody grown, who they want to. Mandela's single. I think Francesca was single because I know she's been married. But that don't have nothing to do with me. And that's not why I'm here. Now, there are times when people's salacious foolishness should be public fodder. It should be public. This crazy the girl in DC whose husband was putting on fake breasts. Jesus Christ. The Lululemon clothes, the Lululemon man. Now that's the public needs to know that. the public, because they said she was having an affair with Corey Lewandowski, and she married. I mean, like that, and I only want to know that because it's funny. Like, why y'all out here beating up on everybody? My husband walk around with some resto, like double F cups. Just I'm sorry. So I'm not gonna tell you I'm never in people's business, but yeah, this Mandela Francesca thing, I got to do. And I did not like that people tried to make that a factor. It's like that man whoever he wants to, and people in the workplace typically tend to date. It happens. There's a whole bunch of people listening to the show. You met your spouse, your girlfriend, boyfriend, your partner on the job. That's why we have non-fraternization policies, because it's a thing. Let me go to the phone line real quick. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, ma'am.
And like you stated, this governor's race is very serious, not to be taken lightly. I was at North Division, and I heard what each one of the candidates had to say. The one white guy that didn't even show up, well, he's a no-starter for me. I have no interest in it. But at the same token, I personally had an opportunity to talk to Rodriguez. And she assured me if she were to win day one, she'll have a team off and running. Well, she's disappointed me. Okay? And I asked her a lot of questions. And in walking away, I heard her say to the guy that was I don't know if he was her security or what. She was like, wow, she put me through the ringer.
because I asked a lot of questions. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That I'm not going to discuss now. But I'm disappointed. But I also know it's not fair. A lot of people are saying, Mandela, I ain't even going to consider him. He gave Johnson a hell of a run for that Senate seat. So a lot of people have faith in it. But I know Black Americans and people that want to make a difference can't just put anybody in those seats. And we have to be serious about what it is that we're going to do. And if I had a personal vendetta against someone, I wouldn't always be there to throw a target or a boulder in their boat. Anybody that think it's a good idea to run to do something now, because our country is in a hell of a situation. And we better start thinking and doing our own research personally to put the best candidate in there that we know. David Boeing, DC, Mandela, and it's another young guy. His father was up there in the legislature. And he was another person that came through the community in the Dominican Center and the COA. So I'm familiar with all of these young guys. And I do believe they have good hearts. Why David got out of there, I do not know. But I know one thing, in our legislature, the Democrats that we put in there, that we voted for, what are they doing for us? They went along with the status quo. And I do believe the one that Myers was running against, that won, what is her name?
Dora Drake.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, ma'am. I said it. Dora Drake.
Who?
Dora Drake.
Okay. During the Juneteenth, her tent was right next to David Crawley. And I asked, I said, what area are you in? And she named it, and she said, and this area. I said, here on MLK Drive. So you right here over the library, you represent this? I said, well, we need to talk. And I meant to get back to her. Not like Taylor that came back to our community, letting us know what's going on, what bills are coming out. Have you heard anything from her?
So I'm gonna be honest. I at one time when she got in, after one time after she got elected, and I'll answer the question. Go ahead and say if there's anything else you want to say, and then I'll answer. I'll answer on the other side because I'm up against a break.
Okay, I know you're against the clock, but all I want to just leave this one thought. Vote your conscience. Vote your research. Don't depend on me. Don't depend on your best friend. Our young people are confused. They don't want to vote, period. And if we're trashing each other and doing all this crazy stuff, they're not going to vote. We need to encourage them to do their research because we need them voting. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for the call. So look, I'm up against a break. Let me take that. When I come back, I'll answer the caller's question. But I've actually said this on the air before, but I will say it again back from the break. So let me take a quick break. Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. I'll be right back. All right, family. Welcome back to the show. So, man, this time has gone so fast. I cannot believe it. Let me take a quick second. I'll do this first. Caller who called before the break. She had asked the question about whether or not Dora Drake, who actually is sitting in the seat that was formerly occupied by Lena Taylor for the 4th Senate District, and the office that I opted in for 20 years off and on, between going out to work on campaigns, coming back, going out, coming back. And she asked that, she'd been on the show. So she's been on the station. I know she's been on Keith's show a couple of times. But in terms of my show, no, she has not been on my show. And I will say for transparency purposes, but when it happened, I mentioned it at the time on the air. After she was elected, her team, a member of her team, reached out to the station, not to me, but to the station, to see about getting her. And when it got to me, I wasn't interested. And my rationale, there was no interest in talking to me while you were running for office. So there would be no interest in talking to me. And even though in a contest with Lakeisha, who everybody know that's my little sister, that's my ride or die. But let me be clear, and if Lakeisha was on, Lakeisha will tell you, I don't have cut cars. If you good, you good. If you're not. Against her, I still know how to be fair to that other person. I'm not going to throw no dirty blows. I'm not going to undercut you. We going to do business. See, that's what grown folks do. That's what grown women do. That's what grown people do. I do business. I don't treat people dirty, no matter what. Always, and for everybody that always says they scared to come and talk to me on the air, I don't know why. Because I've never been disrespectful to a guest, except for Meech. And that's just because he get on my nerves. But I actually do like Meech. But I'm never respectful to people. Real questions, I certainly will. Will I push? Or I will tell you, I got to disagree. I got to push back on that. But everybody that comes on my show, I handle people the way I want to be handled. And I also understand that when you in this arena, tough questions come away. And I don't like cowards. I don't like people who say, hey, elect me. I want to fight for you, but I don't want to go over there because it's uncomfortable. I don't want to talk to them because they might be mean to me. I don't want to go in that room because someone may not like me. I have no use for you. Not in politics. Because when you get in the Capitol, you're going to run into some of the most low-down people you ever ran into in your life with agendas and on BS. And so if you can't come talk to me at a radio station, why would I send you to the Capitol to get in the room with some stomp down sharks who Milwaukee definitely don't have no love for Black folks? Why would I send you? So I'm not interested in talking to you after you get elected when you weren't willing to talk to me before you got elected, when you were running for the office. I ain't got no respect for that. All right. So that was a text that I received as well. Oh, wait. There was one more thing that the caller had said that I wanted to address. This piece about not tearing people down, and I'm paraphrasing now, but kind of the gist of it. Let me just tell people, be able to discern when somebody is telling the truth as they see it and attacks, because they're different. We're talking about issues. We're talking about best people for jobs. We're talking about qualifications. We're talking about what we potentially are going to get. And things get said may be uncomfortable. Because they're uncomfortable does not mean they don't need to be said. It does not mean that truths don't need to be told. I say all the time, and there are times I preface my show and be like, today going to be uncomfortable. It's a little rough today. But I just can't keep doing mediocre. We got enough mediocres. We got enough people that get in these jobs and forget to come back and do meaningful stuff for the Black community every day. I start to make judgments the minute I start looking at your staff, who works on your team, who gets things that I realized a long time ago, particularly with Black candidates. Y'all would come talk to us off the record, behind the scenes, this, that, and the other, but you pay white boys and girls. You don't pay us. look at who's worked on these campaigns. And so if you're not going to hire us to even help you get elected, your loyalty is to those people that help you got elected when it's time to give out jobs once you get in the building. And there's plenty of black candidates. They ain't got nobody black working for them. And definitely don't have nobody black working in no meaningful, like you run the show, you the chief of staff, you know, you got some heft behind your title. No, don't do that. Don't do that. And then you got folks that get up busy because they want to be in leadership and they want somebody to, you know, they want a title. Because like I ain't never seen so many title chasing black folks in my life. That's in office right now. Everybody want a title. I'm the stand at the back door chief. Everybody want a title. Because there's really nowhere else for you to go. Like once you're only one person can advance to be the 4th Congressional District representative. Not that many people gonna run for senator and get, you know, the statewide appeal. So these are dead end careers in terms of making more money, advancement, and promotion. So unless you get picked up as a cabinet secretary, a lot of black folks, they don't get the positions to be government affairs directors. White legislators leave the legislature, they leave Congress, they go run so-and-so corporation's government affairs division. They go run so-and-so law firms, government affairs. They are lobbyists. We don't get them opportunities. We don't. But the thing that's so is that many of them don't create opportunities for folks in our community either. They don't. Again, I can count on one hand how many black chiefs of staff have been in that building. I can count. So, confuse people telling the truth for people attacking somebody. All right. I wanted to acknowledge a text that I received, a veteran. I see you, Jay. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna go to break. A former military, I shouldn't say a veteran, let me just say it that way. They said the thickness of the smoke, smog, and contamination in the air that people are ingesting today is a small reminder of what we as soldiers in Iraq, Afghanistan had to endure every day for 2 years. This was in addition to the 132-degree heat, carrying 60 to 80 pounds of equipment and walking in hot sand 1 to 2 feet deep. No, quality was 25 times worse than what we are experiencing today. Salute. That's why when people jokingly say, you know, or they hear like a lot of gunfire and they be like, man, this feels like Iraq. Tell people you don't have a clue. Thank you to the brother that sent this to remind us of the service that people give. And if we having a hard time with this, imagine how these folks get impacted every day. I'll be right back, y'all.
WNOV.
All right, folks, this time has, oh my God. We just have a couple minutes left in the show. So I just want to say this because yesterday when we were coming in, a brother that picked us up for the Uber, not from America, from I can't remember which country. He's from the continent, though, from Africa. And I was just fresh coming off the story about this man whose restaurant we got this vineyard, who somehow or another got picked up in an immigration sweep last September, and they just released him a couple of days ago. and he was back at his restaurant in Martha's Vineyard. This brother that's driving us, what it's like on the streets for them here because of everything that's going on with ICE and immigration. I mean, ICE, these ICE raids. So there is a heavy presence while we are here in Chicago. We've now had 3 killings during traffic stops, and the individual that was running ICE, came out and said, "Hey, we're gonna pause this because these people are not wearing body cams. They're blaming it on Democrats, but let me be here. It takes 2 keys for the government to break down. No one party is responsible for the government breaking down. ICE has the biggest budget of any agency that we have. So if you wanted body cameras, y'all already got money that can help y'all get body cameras. So I think some of this is done intentionally and by design, because then it becomes a he said, she said, except for private videos from citizens who may be around when this stuff is happening. So you can feel the nervousness in the air with some of these folks about being converged upon. So, or not the acting, but the current director says, "Hey, we're gonna pause because we've had people that are, for the most part, legally in the country. The one father, months away, the last of his citizenship requirements, he was good to go. You got behind and started harassing the wrong person." Another young man that was key had paperwork to legally in this country. Donald Trump comes out and says, basically, ignore what my guy said. We are going to use transportation avenues as a way of going after, folks that are here illegally in the country. It must be in the handbook when you become an ICE agent that you are to say, they tried to kill me with their car. That is every person's line. Although they say, as this one father lay dying on the street, and another guy said, "Hey, I tried to stop. Like I wasn't trying to fight these people." To see the sense of fear in people, it is really crazy. And all agree on immigration and who should be here and how people come into the country, but nobody deserves to die like dogs in the street. These people are operating in a way that regular police officers, if they behaved in this manner, they would be fired. At least I hope they would. But there would be clear policies and guidelines. This is Donald Trump's personal vehicle, he and Stephen Miller, to get to their 2,000-day quota of reporting. I'm just telling people, this ain't how you do it. That is the show for today, show for this week. Thank you to the bros in the studio who got up early to make sure I could do the show remotely. I will be doing it that way on Monday as well. Hopefully I'll have some good news about the competitions. And bros, I appreciate you. And family, I'll talk to y'all next week.